is section 5.3. We're looking at multiplication of decimals and applications. So when we multiply two decimal numbers, we multiply as though they were integers, but then we place the decimal point in the product so that the number of decimal places equals the combined number of decimal places in both factors. So for example, notice when we do this multiplication, we don't line up the decimal points. At first, we're just going to ignore them, and we multiply through by 8, and then we count decimal places. So in the first factor, we have 3 decimal places. In the second factor, we have 1. So in our product, we place the decimal point so that we have 4 decimal places to the right of the decimal. So our product is 9 and 5,312 10,000ths. So again, we'll multiply, but this time we're going to use estimation to check the location of the decimal point. So we multiply 29.3 times 2.8 as though there were no decimals, and then we count 2 decimal points in the factors, and so we place the decimal point in the product so that we have 2 decimal places. And our product is 82.04, or 82 and 400ths. And now we're going to use what we call front-end rounding. So front-end rounding means you round to the number's largest place. So this would be to the nearest 10, we have 30, and to the nearest 1, we have 3. And so our estimate is 90. And our actual answer was 82, but we're really just checking the decimal point to know that we have a realistic answer. So now we're going to multiply by powers of 10. And this is just a shortcut. If we count the number of zeros in the factors, that will be the number of times places where we move our decimal point to the right. So when I multiply by 10,000, you see that I have 4 zeros here. And I simply move my decimal point 4 places to the right. And to do this, I had to add 2 zeros onto the end of the digits. So here I'm multiplying by 100. So I'll be moving the decimal point 2 places to the right. And here it doesn't matter that they're negative numbers. A negative times a negative will give us a positive product. We're still moving our decimal point 6 places to the right. So here's 3 places, and we'll have to add 3 zeros onto the end. So Jane Marie bought 8 cans of tennis balls, and they're $1.98 each. She paid $1.03 in tax. So if we want to know the total bill, we have our 8 cans times $1.98 a can. That's $15.84, and she has to pay $1.03 in tax on top of that. So we're going to have the total cost $15.84 plus the tax, and $16.87 is going to be our total cost. The Mona Lisa is perhaps the most famous painting in the world. It was painted by Leonardo da Vinci somewhere between 1503 and 1506 and now hangs in the Louvre in Paris, France. The dimensions of the painting are 30 inches by 20.875 inches, and we want to know the total area. So the area is length times width, so we're going to multiply, and not only do we multiply the numbers, but we also multiply inches times inches to get inches squared. Area is going to be square inches. And finally, we're going to look at circles. So a circle is a figure consisting of all points in a flat surface located the same distance from a fixed point that we call the center. The radius of the circle is the length of any segment from the center to a point on the circle, and the diameter is the length of any line segment that connects two points on the circle and passes through the center. So here's a picture of the radius, and here's a picture of the diameter, and you can see that the diameter is twice the radius. So here's a formula: diameter equals 2r, or the radius is 1/2 the diameter. So either of those formulas you can use. So we're asked to find the length of the radius, and we're given the diameter. So the radius is going to be 1/2 of the diameter, which is 1/2 times the diameter. 1/2 of 46 is 23 centimeters. If we want the length of the diameter and we're given the length of the radius, the diameter is 2 times the radius, so it's going to be 2 times 3/4 feet. And so it's going to be 3/2 feet. The distance around a circle is called the circumference, and we use a number which is a Greek letter pi. And you've seen pi before. Pi is the ratio between the circumference and the diameter of any circle. If you take the circumference and divide it by the diameter, you get this 3.14159, and you see it goes forever. It's an irrational number. So the formula for the circumference of a circle is either pi times diameter or 2 times pi times the radius. And pi, we're going to approximate to 3.14 or 22/7 if we're dealing with fractions. So the circumference of this circle, since they gave us the picture with the radius, we'll use 2 pi r. So that's 2 times pi times the radius, 4. So 8 pi, and if we use approximately 3.14 centimeters, then the distance around the circle, the circumference, is 25.12 centimeters. Now we're going to look at the area of this circle using pi r squared. So we're going to determine the area of a circle that has a radius of 0.3. So 0.3 feet is my radius, and my area is going to be pi times 0.3 squared. Area is pi times r squared. So it's going to be 0.3 times 0.3 is 0.09 square feet times pi, and we get 0.2826 square feet. So we multiply pi times radius times radius. And here's some for you to practice.